Hello everyone, I'm Ben Orkin and I'm a food blogger from Cape Town, South Africa. I'm 17 years old and my blog's called benskitchenblog.com. My blog, benskitchenblog.com, focuses mainly on fuss-free living and food, vegetarian, baking, delicious things. Instagram is my main platform, so you can follow me there at Ben Orkin for lots of food pics. And then I'm also on Snapchat at Ben Orks, where I regularly make different recipes or show behind the scenes shots on my posts. Today we're going to be making something very special. We're making a challah loaf. It's a traditional Jewish bread, which I make every Friday, so I've got lots of practice. The recipe's on my blog, the full recipe. So let's start. So in the Jewish religion, challah is something that's made every Friday for Shabbat, which is a time where people rest and relax. Each ingredient in the dough has its own special symbolism, which is quite nice to think about when you're making challah. So we have honey, which represents the sweetness in your life. Water represents the knowledge. Yeast represents the rising. Oil represents the anointment of all the Jewish kings. Salt represents criticism and discipline. Eggs represent the life cycle. And finally, the flour represents the substance or the relationships in your life. You can find the full recipe ingredients on my blog. Before we start, I'd just like to say how much of an amazing experience it is to make bread. I make it every week and I absolutely love it. I think that it's a great form of meditation because it gives you the time to just relax and calm yourself down and not have to worry about anything. I find it's the easiest form of baking. I love this filter because it really requires the least amount of effort. Most of the time making bread is spent letting it rise, which involves absolutely no effort on your side, only on the bread's side. Plus, kneading bread dough is such a great workout. It's the only exercise I do. It's all I need to do. It's really great form of exercise. So let's start. So here I've got my flour, and what I've done is I've just made a small well in the center, which I'm going to pour all of my other ingredients into. Start with the water, pour it into the well, followed by all the other ingredients. You don't want to pour the salt into the well because salt actually kills the yeast's growth. So pour it on the side. And then finally the honey. I love to use honey in challah because it gives it such a nice warm sweetness. And a nice tip is to, you know how honey can stick to things? So if you measure the oil first in the same container, or whatever it is you're measuring in, so then you pour the honey into the same bowl, and the oil stops the honey from sticking to the sides of the bowl. Now what I'm going to do is just mix the ingredients in the well together slightly and let it rest for a few minutes so the yeast can activate. Again, you can find the full recipe and ingredients on benskitchenblog.com. It's all there under challah bread. Okay, so the yeast has done its thing, and now I'm just going to combine all of the ingredients together until the dough forms. The dough's starting to come together, so I'm going to get stuck in with my hands and get a little messy. Just a tip, only ever use one hand when kneading bread in case your doorbell rings and you can't answer it because your hands are too messy. The dough's come together nicely, and now I'm kneading it. What you do when you knead is you basically flatten it out into a rectangle. Then you fold it or roll it backwards, flatten it, turn it, do the same, roll it up, flatten it. I'm a bit out of breath. I've been kneading it for about 10 minutes, and it's reached the stage where if you touch it, the dough bounces back, which is perfect. Now I've just rubbed it in some olive oil, placed it in the bowl, which has been olive oiled also so that it doesn't stick, and covered it with plastic wrap. And now into the sun to rise or any warm area for about an hour. So this is an enriched loaf, which means it takes much longer to rise than a normal white loaf. Sometimes if I arrive home from school on Fridays and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I have to make a bread for 6 in the evening, I don't have as much time. what I do is I use a white dough bread instead of a challah bread because it takes much less time to rise. So that's basically the hardest part of making the bread. It's just going to rise. If you have any questions for me so far, please send me a snap. I'm happy to answer. I'm back. I just went and got a haircut. It took about an hour to rise, double in size. Now I'm just going to tip this out onto my working surface, and you'll see it will collapse quite a lot. That's fine. So you can see how much it's risen, and you can see all the little air bubbles that have created over the rising period. This dough creates 2 loaves. I'm going to divide this dough in half, and then I'll show you what to do. I'm going to show you quite a simple technique to braid the dough into like a round floral shape. It's very easy and very effective. I usually do a 6-strand braid, but it's quite confusing. So if you want to learn how to do that, you can go onto my blog, onto the Challah post, and you'll find a video. So I'm going to divide this half into 3 equal pieces. And now I'm going to roll each piece into long sausages. So now I'm just going to braid it. I haven't joined the ends because that will come at a later stage. If you can't do a 3-strand braid, I'm going to show you now quickly. It's very simple. So I did it with 2 hands, the whole length. And now I'm going to take this side and join them together. Now I'm just going to take these ones and tuck them underneath this side. And that's that. I just took the pieces that were hanging on this side and tucked it underneath here to make it look nice. It's a very simple yet impressive technique, I think. Now I've just put it onto a baking mat. You can use baking paper or a greased oven tray. And I'm going to cover it with the plastic wrap and put it in the sun to rise again for maybe 40 minutes. And then you just repeat the same process with the second half of the dough that you put to the side. You also let that rise in the sun for about 40 minutes. So it's risen quite a lot. Now what I'm going to do is brush it with an egg wash and then put it in the oven to bake. My egg wash is just made up of 1 egg yolk and a splash of water. This gives like a nice intense golden shine. I'm just going to brush it very gently on the loaf so I don't lose any of the air, and then I'll put it in the oven. So that's egg washed, and so is the other one. I had a little extra dough, so I made a 6-strand one, which you can see on my blog. I'm just going to top this one with a little Malden sea salt. When it bakes, it looks like diamonds on top of the loaf, which is so beautiful. You could also use sesame seeds, poppy seeds, mixed seeds, whatever seeds you like. So now into the oven for about an hour at 180 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. I just checked and it's about 360 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour. Just check it so that it doesn't burn. They just came out the oven and they are looking stunning. They're like a beautiful dark golden brown color, and the salt's beautiful. So if you want to check if any bread's ready, you basically just tap it and you should hear like a hollow sound. Now I'm going to move on to styling the loaves, and I'll take you with me on the journey. Quite a while ago I created a course which you can buy on this site called azelle.com on how to style and photograph food. You can check it out on www.azelle.com and purchase it. Let me just take you on a tour of my studio / office / bedroom. So this is where I keep most of my equipment and some of my props. And then this is my fiddle leaf, fickle. Here are all my different boards that I use. There's 2 there. And then my ingredients are here. And then I have my marble table by my window with my cacti and glasses with water. Then here I have all my plates and bowls and dishes and pots and things, my props. This is just my cupboard next to my bed, which is quite a mess. And then here's my chair and my cloths. And here's my door, which has my calendar for the year on. It's quite busy. Today we're on the Feedfeed. And then finally my desk, which is quite messy. I'm working on my portfolios for university next year. I'm applying to 2 universities in South Africa and a university or college in New York called the School of Visual Arts to study design. So now let's move on to styling these 2 loaves. I think I'm going to keep it pretty simple and as is. So here's a quick styling tip for you. You'll notice that on this side it's light over here, and then it's dark on this side. If you take a white card or piece of paper and you put it on the other side, you can reflect the light to lose the darkness. Wow, crisp and delicious. So that was quite easy. It's usually a lot more difficult, but I just sliced a few pieces and then pulled them out to make it slightly playful. This is what it looks like inside. It's nice and fluffy and light. It smells so delicious. And then what's also nice about this bread is if you had a dip, you could put it on the center and then people could just tear and dip and share. It's delicious. So that's basically all from me. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask and I'm happy to answer. Thank you so much to the Feedfeed and to everyone watching. I had so much fun today and I'd love to do this again. The full recipe, ingredients list, everything, video, how to make a tutorial is on my blog www.benskitchenblog.com. And you can follow me on my Instagram at BenOrkin, or you can follow me on Snapchat at BenOrks for more food and deliciousness. If you're interested in taking over the Feedfeed Snapchat and having as much fun as I had today, feel free to send them a snap and they'll kindly answer. Bye everyone, I'm just going to eat my challah.